Hi, I'm Jesse Knapp. I'm one of the producers on APB, All Points Bulletin from Realtime Worlds, an exciting new online action game coming to North America on the 29th of June.
And we actually got a chance to play the game, play around with the social editor. I'm really excited. I know a lot of fans are. Can you kind of give us an idea of what ideology you guys got going on here? Crackdown was an open world game, and now you guys are kind of bringing that to the MMO. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Sure. So when we were starting to create APB, one of the driving factors is we really enjoyed online action games, but there's a number of problems that we've experienced with those in their current form. Peer-to-peer, which gives you bad connections, small limits, 12 to 32 players, way too much time spent waiting in lobbies, cities that don't have a life. No real support for clans, limited personalization, no persistence, things like that. So when we were looking at APB, those are some of the challenges we set out to tackle. We've created a vast city full of thousands of NPC AI characters. We've got 100 players per city, and then these cities together form a world that supports 100,000 players that can all meet each other, interact, trade with each other, and kind of form a persistent community. On top of that, we've built extensive customization and a highly tactical, squad-based mission core gameplay where criminals prey on the city, looting businesses, harassing citizens, taking what they want, causing mayhem and chaos, while enforcers prey on the criminals, hunting them down, bringing them to justice, and stopping them dead in their tracks.
What are you guys looking for in terms of scale? Like, can it get to we're 16 people are going at it? What's the limit?
So players themselves can only initiate matches of up to 4 versus 4 because that's the limit of the group size for release. However, through call for backup and escalating fights, it can get up to 20 versus 20. For example, some of our more skilled players that have really high threats might form a group of 4, and we might not be able to find a group of 4 that's good enough to put up against them. So we might take 2 or 3 other groups of 4 and use their numbers to help them overcome the skill of the other players, where you get a 4 versus 12 match. A couple call for backups later, and you might have 8 versus 20.
So that's kind of like an ego boost. If say I'm in a group of 4 and we're taking on 12 guys, that's because the matchmaking system has decided that they need 12 people to take us down?
Exactly. And then it's the question, can your skill and tactics and teamwork overcome the Zerg?
Okay. And how has it been balancing? I know you said action games have been kind of difficult in terms of latency. You're talking peer-to-peer, and even balance. A lot of times you've got turn-based, or where it's like, I'm pushing a button all the time, and now I'm actually firing and doing Twitch methods. How has it been balancing that in the MMO universe?
So one of the most important things is that we host dedicated servers, which allows us to control the quality of the experience and ensure that you have a good connection and that everything's responding fast enough. In addition, we've done a lot of development and spent a lot of time on making sure that our core shooting mechanic is something that works well in the conditions that we expect, and we feel really good about that. So we entered beta in October, closed beta, and that ran up until very recently. And in that period, we spent a lot of time balancing the already working combat mechanics. And we've had to do quite a few revisions just to get the weapons all kind of in their right niche. But at this point, I think we're happy to launch with what we've got.
Sounds excellent. Let's kind of move the topics to the customization aspect.
Sure. So the kind of center of the ability to really express yourself in the visual sense comes from the designer, where you take simple primitives and layer them to create complex shapes. You can then take these shapes and put them on your characters' tattoos, on your clothing, and even on your vehicles, as well as graffiti in the world. And that really allows players to create unique individual identities. I guess the reason for it is that we wanted to create a world where players could, again, establish these identities, have a sense of self, and really feel like they can invest in their character. And we find that customization and the ability to be unique is one of the primary motivating factors in your attachment to your avatar.
Switch gears a little bit here. There's been talk, you guys have a new kind of model in terms of subscription. I've noticed that you buy the game, you get 50 hours, is it, out of the box. So that's 50 hours that's used only in the Action District. Players can still socialize and customize. What was the motivation behind changing that and offering a different method where you can buy hours or do those?
So really, when we were approaching the business model, we wanted to find something that provided the most value possible to our customers. So looking at the market and what the options are out there, we didn't really want to sell items. So what we looked at was, how can we let people have more options? Maybe you don't want to play APB enough to feel like it justifies paying a monthly fee. So that's where the hours option came from. That's where for approximately $7 US a month, you get 20 hours, or $7 US per purchase. You get 20 hours that you can then use anytime you want. Those don't expire. And again, like you said, they only count down when you're in the action district. So anytime you spend socializing, customizing, or trading on the marketplace doesn't count towards that. Or for the dedicated gamer who wants to spend more time in APB and feels like hourly is, maybe would wear him out, we also have the monthly option where you can pay a flat fee and you have unlimited access to APB for that month.
And now, do those hours roll over when you get if you buy the 7 and 20, let's say I bought those 20, does that just stay in my bank and I can use that whenever I'd like?
Yes, exactly. The hours don't expire, so they're there until you use them. If you buy 20 hours and then decide to pay for a month, for that month you're not using those hours. And then when that month is over, you start using the hours again. If you go away for a couple months and come back, you got 10 hours sitting around, you can use them when you come back.
Okay, now what happens to me if I've got 30 minutes left and I just get launched into an 8-on-16 match or 16-on-16 match, it's crazy, and I run out of time? What's going to happen to me?
So what we do is, as you're approaching running out of time, we start a countdown to let you know what's going on. But if you happen to be in a mission or a match that's opposed between two sides when you run out of time, we'll let you finish that match up. And then once you finish that match up, you go back to the character select screen.
That sounds excellent. You don't get kicked out right in the middle. You wouldn't want to lose that. It seems like you guys have a lot of options for everybody in terms of business model, customization, and I noticed that there was a large selection of weapons that everybody's going to be able to use. Really appreciate the interview, Jesse.